You'll notice they screw on a little easy at first, and then once you get through the other half, it does get a little tight, but then they go back on with your fingers again. The collar on them goes down. That's what the spring rides on. If you are looking for an upgrade, Axial does offer an aluminum, hardened aluminum shock body. Okay, once you got those to that point, then what you want to do is take an O-ring first into the bottom of each one. Then there's a plastic washer that is on parts tree number 8000 or 800. It'd be 80032. It's these little circular discs. You're gonna want the 4 of them. They're part number 4 on the tree. Cut the 4 off. Of the parts tree. Clean off the excess slag before you put them in. Okay, so you got O-ring, then that little plastic ring, then another O-ring. Okay. Now you're going to need 80029, part number 3. It's the top cap, or I'm sorry, part number 2 is the one you're going to need. And I see they've got that listed wrong also. Okay, they're saying the bottom cap for this is going to be 800 or 80029. I'm on parts tree 80029. They've got it listed as part 2. Part 2 is not the bottom cap. Part 4 is actually the bottom cap. So that's the piece you want. That's what goes on the bottom of the shock, not the part that they say. That's actually the fake simulated reservoir that goes on later to the shock. So grab that bottom cap piece, put that on. That one's done. We go O-ring. Then we go plastic ring with the slag cleaned off of it. Then we go O-ring again. I'm going to push this one down in there a little bit. Okay. We go O-ring again. Then we find another parts tree 80029 and pop off again. Part number 4, not part number 2 like they have it listed. It's the wrong part number. It does happen from time to time. These manuals are tough to write for these when you're building stuff. Mistakes can happen. That's why we do these little videos like this to help point things out, so you don't sit here and go, "Ooh, what do I do now?" It's we're doing this to help you out if you've never built one of these before, or if you even have and you're running into problems. Okay, take O-ring and washer and another O-ring and go to another parts tree 80029, grab part number 4 and screw that on. And we got one left to do here. We go O-ring, plastic washer, and we got one more O-ring floating around in here. And we go into the last parts tree 80029. Remember, you got 4 of these. Take off part number 4, not part number 2. Screw on that. Okay, the main bodies are pretty much done. Now the next stage, you've got the shafts already put together. Take your body and your shaft. The easiest way to do this, so you don't hurt the O-rings, kind of a nice little tip. We're going to open up our oil here. I'm actually going to put a little on my finger and put some on the shock shaft itself. And then we're going to take and push this through those two O-rings in that plastic washer. That way it slides through better. You're not going to stress the O-rings out. Another thing you could do too, if you wanted to, is put a drop of oil down in on those O-rings before you shove the shafts into the hole. That one pulled through. Got enough of this on my fingers now. I think I can lube the whole truck. Push. Line this one up. Push that one through. We've got one more here. Lube the shaft up. And we're going to push that one through. Okay, I'm going to grab a paper towel and wipe my fingers back off here, and we'll be right back. Okay, once you got your shock shafts down, inserted into the housings, you're going to need to go back and locate your part tree 832 again and pull off 4 of the number 1 part or piece, which is actually the ball end for the shock shaft. Need 4 of those. Cut 4 of those off. Then we need to find part tree 80018, which is basically this. We need 4 of the little ball sockets. Break 4 of those off. Okay, the other thing you're going to need then is the 4 rubber stops. They go onto the shock shafts before you put the other ends on. Basically, what these do is when you bottom a shock out, instead of plastic hitting plastic, it's basically a little shock absorber. Okay, take your shocks. What I like to do is grab with a good pair of clean vice grips. Don't lock down onto the shaft, but just enough to squeeze it, and thread on your ends. These are hardened shafts, but grab as close as you can down to the bottom. You don't want the shaft to spin. Thread your ends on. Grab the next one. You'll see these I already popped the balls into them. I got a little ahead of myself there. We'll do. Get that one on. Grab number 3. Tighten these up. And number 4. You'll notice I've got this block of wood sitting here. I've got, it's actually 2 blocks of wood, 2 2x4s screwed together. I use that as a car stand slash shock stand. The reason being, we'll get to it here in a minute. You'll notice I've got 4 holes drilled. Actually, there's 5 holes drilled in there, but there's 4 holes all the same size. And the reason for this is you don't want air built up in your shocks. That's the hardest part of the whole shock building procedure, is filling the shocks up and not having air trapped in them. If they have air trapped in them, what happens when you put the cap on, you push the shock in all the way, the air will actually force the piston back out, and it'll slowly come down. You want, when you've got the cap on full of oil and push that all the way up, you want that to stay there. You don't want it forcing back down.